Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Hayley. I'm a nutritionist and a brain training weight loss coach. And this is Weight Loss Without Dieting, the podcast where we talk about all things weight loss, but from your brain, from your mind. We take it back to the source. I don't tell you on this podcast what to eat or what not to eat or how much points to count or macros to add up or foods to weigh. None of that. We take it all the way back to where your weight is coming from, where your food decisions are coming from, and that's your brain. And it's also the thing that nobody's really talking about, or you might not have known how to quantify or qualify or Google search in the past. I know when I was 30 pounds overweight, as a nutritionist who knew all the diets, I was like, what is this? Why can't I stop thinking about food? Why do I just want to eat all the time? Every night when I get home from work and I'm super stressed out? Why do I just want to go to the pantry and get out all the snacks? What is that? What's wrong with me? The thing is, nothing's wrong with you. Your brain is doing what everyone else's brain has done that has a weight issue. And the good news is there's a nice process to fix it. I teach you all about it in my program. And here on the podcast, you can get a lot of it here for free, which is super great. Okay. So today we're going to talk about affirmations and how to make affirmations work for you. I see the same mistakes when it comes to affirmations happening over and over and over again. So if you are picking affirmations and you're repeating affirmations and the scale still isn't going down, your pants aren't fitting, you can't figure out what's going on, I'm going to break it down for you in this episode. I'm going to show you what you're doing wrong, how to figure out if the affirmations that you have chosen for yourself are going to work or not, and how a nice process to get your affirmations to work for you so that you can actually see results from them. Affirmations are actually can be really powerful and really important. I think affirmations have been around for a long time, and because of maybe their what am I trying to say? Maybe like overuse in movies, we kind of think of them as like silly or not effective. And I think part of that is because we're not doing them right. But they've kind of become like a pop culture thing. Like I feel like, writing in lipstick on the mirror, like I want to lose 10 pounds. It's become this like thing that we have lost faith in maybe, but they can be really powerful. What I talk about all the time on this podcast is practice, practicing. How did you learn anything in your life? How did you learn how to walk? You learned by practicing. You learned by falling down a lot, discovering how to not fall down and how to get that foot in front of the other one successfully without face planting. And you practiced that over and over and over again until you could just do it without thinking about it. And now you can do it without thinking about it. That is how we lose weight, y'all. I go to Nashville one time and now I say y'all like all the time. So you got to practice, and affirmations are a great way to practice, but if they're not working for you, then you're not doing them right. And so yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. No more need to continue to tease this episode. Let's just get into it. So here's what I see, what you're probably doing now and what a lot of people are doing now. So what kind of like cherry picking affirmations, like this is something that I want to believe. I want to believe, XYZ. And so that's going to be my affirmation, this thing that I want to believe. But what that's missing is, just because it's something that you want to believe doesn't mean that you can believe it right now when you say it. So the biggest thing with affirmations is you have to believe it now. If you can't believe it now, if it doesn't resonate with you now, it's not going to do anything for you. It's just going to be words that you say and words that you repeat. So you're coming up, you're cherry picking these affirmations, you're practicing them all day long, then you're wondering why they're not working, why you're not seeing the results that you want show up. The other thing that I see a lot of people doing is like we're picking affirmations that they're too wordy, they're not very specific, they're a little bit abstract. Like one for me that I hear a lot that means absolutely nothing to me is I am enough. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. So something like that, if it means something to you, that's fantastic. That's what's important. What I think isn't important, what means something to you is important. That's my example. But if it's something like that that comes up that you hear a lot of other people using, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna, everyone else is using it, so I'm gonna use that one too. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna do anything for you. Um, so here's how you can tell if the affirmation is going to work for you or not. When you say it to yourself, does it resonate? And what I mean by that is, does it have an emotional reaction for you that's positive, that aligns with where you think you're wanting to go? A good example of this, if someone says your name to you, that will have like a clear, like, yes, that's my name. I believe that. That's me. It has this, it like lands, it resonates with you. But if someone calls me Katie, I'm going to be like, what? It's not going to land. It's not going to resonate. It's not going to mean anything. It might also have like a negative reaction. I might be annoyed or frustrated. So thinking about that, like when you say this sentence, that's what an affirmation is. It's a sentence, it's a thought that you're going to think that you want to start thinking all the time. When you say the affirmation to yourself, how does it resonate with you? What emotion does it call up for you? A negative emotional reaction is not good. Like you don't want that. A very like you can't find the emotion. Like when I say I'm enough, it's just like nothing. I'm like, what? I guess it's not nothing. It's confusion. But if it's not calling up anything positive or anything at all, that's probably not going to work. A negative reaction, also not going to work. And then I think this is the other mistake that we make with this. We pick one that's like super duper positive, and we take ourselves to this like extreme positive emotion. And what I mean by that is like excitement. That's amazing. That also isn't really what we are going for. That might be great occasionally if we just need to feel some excitement. But affirmations, they're not really meant to be like super duper high energy excitement. Because when we get where we're going, we're not walking around like excited all day long. We can't, just like we can't sustain a ton of willpower, we can't sustain a ton of excitement. We wear out. It's too much. But where I direct my clients, where I'm directing you, is to think about emotions that are very solid, they're grounded, but they're positive. They're on the positive side. Things like calm, confidence, certainty, those are effortless. Those are great places to land or to want to be. Because when you're there, when you've lost 30 or 50 pounds, you're not walking around excited all day. So when you think about it, like, yeah, that's freaking amazing. But you're not walking around thinking that all day long. You're like, this is easy. You don't even think about it most of the time. You're just confident. There's food in front of you, you're confident. You're calm. There's a pantry full of all the cookies in the world and you're calm. There's a buffet in front of you and you're certain that you're not going to overeat everything. So that's where we're wanting to kind of direct ourselves. So you want the affirmation to bring you a feeling of like belief, of solid, slightly positive belief. It resonates with you now. You can believe it now. And the best way to do that, the best way to test that is to start saying them to yourself and feeling what emotional reaction does that bring up for me. It doesn't need to be negative. It doesn't need to be super positive. And it also but it needs to land in some way. If it's just like out there and you're like, I don't know, that's not good, not what you're going for. So here's how to make your affirmations work for you. Um, be very clear and specific. So your affirmation should be very clear and specific. There should be, when you say it to yourself, if mine bring up like a clear picture in my mind of something, like on last week's episode, we talked about you're one thought away from losing 10 pounds. And I share the story of my client who was going to an event, and she used this thought of like anything can be, any type of food can be at this event, and I know that I can make a good choice for myself. And so that gives like a very clear picture in her mind. Like there might be this giant buffet of fried chicken and cupcakes, but I can easily put something on my plate that is going to work for me to lose weight. That's very clear. It's very specific. Things that are really abstract and wordy don't usually work. They can be. You can do that, but a lot of that's kind of where I see these affirmations going. Like they're just these big abstract ideas. Like I'm enough. I don't know when I hear that, it's like my brain's like, what are you talking about? And I think a lot of times affirmations are kind of this big picture ideas that just aren't clear and specific. They don't really give our brain anything to like chew on and to resonate with. So pick ones that are clear and specific for you and they mean something to you. Number two, and I know I said this on last week's episode because I filmed it right before this one. So I'm batching some podcasts right now. And now, like, everything that I just said in the last episode, I'm like, oh, yeah, that pertains to this one too. Funny how that works. But I have a client, and she said on one of her calls, she said, there's two truths to every situation, one that sucks and one that you can believe. That's a little bit better. I'm sorry. That's almost what she said. There are two truths to every situation, one that sucks and one that's a little bit better. You believe them both. One of them doesn't feel that good, and one of them feels a little bit better. That is the affirmation that we want. Like that one that we already believe that's a little bit better than what we're actually practicing right now. That's the affirmation that we want. Because we don't need to take these giant steps to way out there in the future. That's this whole different place. And it's a year down the road. Because we can't believe that right now. What we can believe is like one step closer to that from where we are now. It's literally one step in front of us. And that's it. And that's the other thing that got me thinking. If you've been practicing an affirmation for like years and years and years and it hasn't changed, like affirmations are stepping stones. So we're stepping constantly towards this future that we want to get to. And just repeating the same one over and over isn't moving you forward. What's moving you forward is saying like, okay, this is where I am now. This is the better thing that I can believe right now. I'm going to practice that. And then once I can believe something a little bit better than that, that's the next step. Now I'm going to move to that affirmation. That's what this is all about. So, and then you can use bridge thoughts as well. So, what I teach my clients is, let's say we're looking to 6 months down the road, we've lost 30 pounds, we're feeling like, let's see, what would be 6 months from now? Ooh, summertime. We're in a bikini. We're like, heck yeah, this is amazing. You know, I'm down 30 pounds, super excited to get dressed in the morning. I'm wearing my bikini today. I'm putting on suntan lotion. Um, where was I going with any of this? Oh my, oh my lordy. Sometimes moms out there, I got the mom brain like so bad. I just lose my train of thought. And I'm sorry that it happened here on this podcast, especially if you're not a mom and you're like, what are you talking about, mom brain? Okay, where I was going with this is we're thinking about this 6 month destination and what we're going to be thinking when we get there. Now, what we're going to be thinking when we get there might not be something that we can believe right now, but we can use a bridge, a little add on to that sentence that can help us believe it now. So if it's something like, I love getting dressed in the morning, we can think, I'm working towards loving getting dressed in the morning. I'm becoming a person who loves getting dressed in the morning. I'm getting better at getting dressed in the morning and loving what I'm wearing. I believe I can be a person who loves getting dressed in the morning. I want to love getting dressed in the morning. Those are all bridge thoughts, and you can put them onto the front of any sentence that you want to believe. So those are all fantastic bridges that you can use. So if there's, a couple of thoughts that you have, maybe they're even affirmations that you've been practicing, but they're just not landing right, they're not resonating that much. You're just like, that they're not working. Try adding one of those bridges onto them and see if that lands a little bit better and feels a little bit better, and resonates more. Those are really helpful. I direct my clients to use those all the time. No matter what it is, you can usually throw one of those on the front of your sentence, and all of a sudden it's something that has much more resonation with you right now. Because you can believe that right now. Like, I can believe that, I want to love getting dressed in the morning. I believe that right now. So I can use that right now. And I'm not currently someone that loves getting dressed in the morning, but I want to be. I want to be, and I'm working towards that, and I'm becoming this person. So super helpful there. And then again, this is a reiteration of what I already said, but the emotion doesn't have to be super positive. We don't have to jump to this wonderful rainbows and daisies place. We really, the emotions of your future, of the version of you that weighs what you want to weigh, are much more neutral than you think. They are likely one of the 3 C's: confidence, certainty, calm. So that's what we want to be practicing right now. And I already said all of those, but I'm just saying that again. You don't have to jump to excitement and hurrah and everything's amazing. It's like, no, I'm just confident around food and it's all good and this is not a problem and anything can be in front of me and it's not a problem for me. I'm not worried about it. I've got this. I don't even have to think about it really. It's just natural. It's like, because I learned tennis, now when I stand on a tennis court, I don't have to think about swinging my racket. Just like if I go and stand in front of a buffet, I don't have to think about what I am and I'm not going to eat, or how much I'm going to take, or how I'm going to feel tomorrow, or if the scale's going to go up. I don't think about it at all. And that's confidence. That's calm. That's certainty. Okay. And then lastly, practice. That's what this is all about. It's practicing. How did I become a good tennis player? I practiced. How did I lose my weight and never really have to think about it anymore? I practiced. Practiced all of these things over and over and over again until they just became really easy and effortless and who I am. That's what affirmations are about. It's about practicing these new things, these new thoughts that have a strong emotion for you, strong neutral, strong positive, strong neutrally positive. Oof, we're struggling today. Okay. But practice. So a lot of my clients have sticky notes that they put on their mirror in the morning. I encourage all of my clients to bust out a journal. In fact, we have a workbook that has daily pages for them to go through. We do monthly bonus kind of activities together that encourage a lot of like journaling and self-reflection and practicing your affirmations. So however you're going to make that work for yourself, if it's a sticky note on your laptop or on your mirror, or you take 5 minutes every morning to journal and write a couple things down, whatever it is for you, you know what you could do? I used to do this, is you can record them too in your phone and then play them like on your way to work or something. Those are all great ways to make sure that you're practicing your affirmations and getting getting them in a lot. And then one that I didn't include in this, but I'm just going to add on, is kind of like I mentioned, these need to be stepping stones. So as an affirmation lands more and more and feels more and more like you just can think it and believe it without thinking about it, it's time to move to the next one. It's time to keep pushing that forward. Okay? And affirmations should give you a result as well, like a result of a better emotional experience in that moment, an uplifted emotional experience. The scale is moving down, or at least you're seeing like, hey, when I get dressed in the morning, it's not drama anymore. I just like put on my clothes and it's a lot easier. Or I know like I've got these clothes right at the front of my closet. I can grab them. I'm like ready to go. It's super simple. I don't have to think about it. It's not a fight. Like you should be experiencing things like that you know that, okay, the affirmations are working. So where do I need to push it to next? All right. That's what I have for you today. Thanks for listening. I will see you on the next episode.